We are live, as CJ always says.
There we go.
There we go. So this is, if you're listening on the regular pod, because we don't have CJ, you're getting the filter in because I do not edit it out like he does. So yes, this is on the normal YouTube, but it'll also be on the pod.
All right. Well, then a short filter in for those folks. I'm going to a bachelor party tomorrow in Mexico. And there's some folks. Oh, that's a nice catch. Rojas. Nice playing center.
Yeah.
In the bottom of the ninth.
Bottom of the ninth, 5-3 still?
5-3 still. Now
Yeah.
2 outs.
Yeah.
And there's some people going, some Philly guys going. And I think a couple of them listen to the podcast. So either way, I'm assuming that some of them are going to want to talk about the Sixers. And let me just say,
It's the worst.
well, so much better that
Oh, yeah.
there's something good to talk about.
Right.
So I just want to, at least for the purposes of this long weekend, really thank Daryl and Elton
For
and
the
organization
yeah. Yep.
for at least making this a lot more palatable than it would have been otherwise if I had to do like random guys I don't know being like, Simmons probably should have just dunked it. He probably should have just dunked it. I wish he did. No, I wish he did. I do.
Yep. 2 quick things for you that you'll enjoy. I was at the Blue Rocks game tonight for Fritz's High Hopes night. See Aiden Miller and
Justin Crawford.
Yeah, and Justin Crawford. And the first thing is, man, Bball is not Major League Baseball.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I also really like Emarian Boyd.
Who's that? Is he the
outfielder.
left fielder?
Fast guy. I don't know where he played tonight, but he plays all over.
There's a guy in left field who was really fast, made a great catch, but just like it's so far away from Major League Baseball that you feel like you're watching Little League or something. You're like, why didn't you back him up? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why'd you cut that off like that? And then also I saw in the distance, I did not see the guy, but like up close, but there was an Al Horford Appreciator t-shirt in the crowd.
Great.
At the Blue Rocks
Good
game.
for them.
Yeah. I didn't know the Blue Rocks were the Nationals now because I remember when they started, that's a win.
That's a win.
Good, because the Braves
5-3,
won tonight.
Alvarado on a strikeout. Very nice.
They were the Royals when they started. I didn't know that they were the Nationals team now. So, in Wilmington.
It's fun when they like trade teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Phils used to have the Batavia Muck Dogs.
Yeah.
And then they left the organization.
All right. I guess I don't have to do anything because CJ's not here. So here we go. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. Brought to you by Body Bio. Get 20% off any Body Bio order with code Mike's Tummy at bodybio.com. MortgageCS. Become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP at mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. And Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter with Zoe. Subscribe at rightstorickysanchez.com/newsletter. On the show today, with the Paul George signing done, free agency continues for the Sixers and the rest of the league. Maybe a deeper conversation about the job Morey has done. We got several voicemails and emails about that. And talk about what's going on in the rest of the league. Plus, Tony T, who was a Harrell doubter, sends in a message about Harrell's offseason. A couple things. First of all, I mentioned on the last pod, we are doing a test with a new podcast app called Cooler. And the cool thing about this podcast app, it is like community focused. So when you're listening to an episode, there's a comment section right there on it. And we are the only podcast doing the beta with Cooler right now. So it's in beta. We opened up 100 spots. We have 50 more spots, and then that will be that for a little while. So if you would like to, and the first of all, it's only iOS, it's only Apple for now. And only do it if you're going to participate. You'll get surveys. We want you to comment, all that kind of stuff, and tell us what you think. So if you're interested, go to cooler.fm to get the app and use code LickFace to actually be able to download it. So that's cooler.fm and LickFace for you to use the app. Surfside, iced tea and vodka. Well, it's summer, and this is summertime. Ike always tells me that he likes golfing with Surfsides, and then when he's grilling, he has a Surfside because Ike is a Surfside guy now. Ike from WIP. Look, Surfside iced tea and vodka is the best canned alcoholic beverage there is, especially in the summer, especially when there's a game on. All different options: lemonade and vodka, iced tea, lemonade and vodka, peach tea and vodka, raspberry tea and vodka, the green tea and vodka. They're all great. They all have 100 calories. They all only have a few grams of sugar, and none of them, zero of them, not a one, has any carbonation because iced tea should not have bubbles. If you want to give it a try, go to statesidevodka.com. They have the sampler pack on there, and but you got to be 21. And finally, you may be tuning in because you are expecting me to have a discussion, long mid-pod discussion with Mike about the news that is on the internet about everywhere about my dad. Well, we are not going to have that conversation. It's not like appropriate to have here. It's not what the podcast is for. And quite truthfully, it is not me. It is him. So even though he's my dad, we do different things and handle things different ways. So I wouldn't have that conversation about any of my coworkers here on the podcast, and I won't with him either. So this podcast is about basketball and sometimes wiping your ass and peeing and all that kind of stuff, but it won't be about that. So that's about it. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who has just signed a one-year, $2.7 million deal to play for the Los Angeles Clippers as the latest Sixer to defect over to that team. That is one Mike Levin.
I just love the Intuit Dome.
Yes.
I love the way it looks. Have you seen the way it looks, by the way?
No.
Have you seen the way it looks from the outside?
No.
It's crazy. You should
check
it out on your own time. It is a shockingly strange looking building.
Really?
That I think they think is cool. There's a bunch of buildings like that in LA where people are like, one of them was when we did the live podcast in that park.
Yes, in the background.
Yeah, that awful building.
Yes.
There's a couple buildings like that where it's like, this is going to be cool. And it's really not. It really is like some hideous stuff. And Steve Ballmer built himself another one.
Oh, well, congratulations to Steve Ballmer and the Clippers on both the Intuit Dome and Mo Bamba. We did get this message. I said in the intro that we had a message from one Tony T, who, if you remember, had a sort of one-sided rivalry with Daryl Morey. Remember, you ain't going to be the coach a year from now, Harold, blah, 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 blah. Well, now that Daryl has gotten his guy, we did get this message from Tony.
Oh, what's up, dude? It's your fucking boy Tony. Remember me? Yeah, you fucking dude. Yo, congratulations on making all these fucking dudes come in their little fucking tighty whities because you're doing your job finally. Good fucking job, dude. But you know what you gotta do, bro? $12,000. You took me for $12K, dude, on that Great Babe Venmo fucking bullshit you were doing with the NFTs. So, yo, get me my fucking money back. $12,000 by tomorrow fucking morning in my Venmo. Or you know what the fuck happens, Harold. Okay, you seen what happens on here. You fuck with the wrong people, Harold. Good luck out there, cuz.
There you go. Any thoughts?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really.
Well,
I love that he's outside.
Yes.
It's nice. I haven't seen him get fresh air much, I guess.
No.
All the times we've been with Tony, it hasn't been out in the world. It felt like there was some wind.
Yep.
And I'm just happy for him that he's getting some sun.
So, the last time we did a pod, I want to circle back to Paul George, obviously. The last time we did
got
a pod. We did. And the last time we did a pod, we were doing it as if we thought it was going to happen, but it was not done. So we didn't get to, the excitement. I woke up at 6 a.m. for it. I think it happened around 4 a.m. I'm very excited they got Paul George. And there's been a good deal of hemming and hawing over whether he was the right guy. And he was very clearly the right guy and the best option out of all of their options. And I'm pretty excited they got him. And I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know, how they'll fill out the rest of the roster and how good the team will be. But it was a pretty nice feeling to actually get the guy and to get a max free agent to change teams in the offseason, which does not really happen. It mostly happens, via, it happened with what's his name, with Durant, and it happened with LeBron and Chris Bosh, but, it really doesn't happen very much. So I'm really happy they got it done, even if he wanted to play for the Warriors more than he wanted to play for the Sixers. I'm happy it happened. I'm really happy.
I mean, they got Paul George, dude. He decided to come here. They show up. There was a Ramona Shelburne article with some pretty rough Game of Thrones jokes in there, which I didn't think were necessary. But about Julius Erving goes with Josh Harris to fly to LA to meet with Paul George, to meet with Daryl and Elton and meet him there. Mm-hmm. And Peter Dinwiddie, who used to work for the Pacers and has a relationship with Paul and his family.
And by the way, amazing that Peter Dinwiddie is still here, because Peter Dinwiddie signed with the Sixers when Elton Brand was in charge for like 2 seconds. And then Daryl came in because he was going to be Elton's basically like GM or whatever. And Dinwiddie's still here doing great. So anyway.
And their flight gets delayed, so the meeting has to get pushed back a couple hours. And then they finally show up, and Paul George wearing an Allen Iverson shirt.
Yeah.
What a fucking moment.
Yeah.
What a moment that is. I'm sure they had a really, really good feeling that he was coming. They had I'm sure like some assurances, some winking. But to open the door to Paul's house, and it's like, he's got an Iverson shirt on, that kicks ass.
Yep.
He's here. And they had to trade absolutely nothing to get him. Mm-hmm. He walks right in. They sign him for 4 years, $50-some million. And for that very steep price, you get to be the third option. You get to be the third option behind Joel and Maxey. And a lot of people are saying that, maybe that's too much to pay for a glorified a really good 3-and-D player. Who cares?
Yeah. Fuck it. It's not my money.
We need 3-and-D.
Yeah.
We need those things and some scaling up offense. It's Paul George. He came to Philadelphia. We had to trade nothing to get him. This is unbelievable.
He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And by the way, we actually need more than a 3-and-D guy. His base role is 3-and-D guy, but we also need somebody to be number 2 option and sometimes number 1 option. And most of those 3-and-D guys, by the way, even Mikal Bridges included, is not really qualified to do that, but he is qualified to do that. Paul George is. So.
Dude, they've been paying Tobias Harris for 86 years to let us down and get worse as he does it. And now instead of Tobias Harris, who they no longer have to pay because he is playing for the Detroit Pistons for 2 years and $52 million, really good job to his dad. Once again, they're now paying Paul George to do that.
Yeah.
And he's so much better than Tobias at everything. And now he's here because he wanted to play for the Sixers. Yeah. Maybe he wanted to play for other guys more, but who cares?
And by the
way, he
wanted
to come here of his own volition.
Yep.
He put on an Allen Iverson shirt. He shook Julius Erving's hand. He maybe had a weird handshake with Josh Harris. And he's coming to the goddamn Sixers. And that, after I've given Daryl a lot of shit, a lot of people around the city have given Daryl a lot of shit for just waiting, not making the move, fucking up at a couple trade deadlines, letting Isaiah Joe walk, clearing space out for the cap space plan, and being like, we're the only team that's going to have cap space. And it's like, well, when has that worked? Now.
It worked this time.
Now it worked.
Yep.
This rocks. We got him.
By the way, I don't blame Paul George for like being like, yeah, I'd love to go to the Warriors.
Sure.
It's Steph Curry. It's also in California. It's
He's
like
West Coast.
Yeah, whatever. I don't give a fuck.
But he's here now.
Yes, he's here.
For 4 years. And it's like, oh, we're going to be paying him a lot when he's 30. It's like, there's never going to be a perfect option. The perfect option was drafting Tyrese Maxey at 21, him becoming as good as he's become, him being as delightful of a player and a person as he is, that he's willing to wait a year so that they have the cap space on his small cap hold to go sign Paul George in free agency. Like, all the things that have had to work out for the Sixers to have Joel, Maxey, and Paul George as a threesome, as a big three. Joel had to have like dangerous medicals for his draft and not they had to draft fucking Jabari Parker over him, the Milwaukee Bucks. And then he had to get healthy and become the player he's become. Maxey had to have fucking COVID. The COVID year had to happen to keep Maxey from playing in March Madness, where he surely would have blossomed and gone way higher than 21. Obviously, the Mike Muscala shot, giving us the pick at all. And then Paul George, the second apron, and the new CBA having to become such a detriment to team building and the way that teams and across the league are building their rosters and are afraid to cross this threshold. All of those things happening individually for all of those guys, very unlikely. World, in some cases, earth-shattering things to happen. And now we have Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid. And you just need a bunch of guys that play hard and defend a little bit outside of them. And like, what many strokes of luck have happened to the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm appreciating it. We've had a lot of bad luck, but in the way that I just said it, we've had a lot of good luck. And here we are. We got them. We got these three guys. We got some guys that came here, a couple guys on draft picks that I'm excited about, and picks to trade over the next couple years.
It's not bad.
Things are looking really, really good. And I'm here to say we're not fucked. You did the we're fucked rant.
Well,
we're not fucked.
Well,
we're not. And
Celtics
yes,
already won
they
the
did.
championship.
They did already win a championship, and I am breezing past that.
Okay.
In ways, because if I sit down and look at that, I will be upset. The Celtics are now up for sale because they're losers. So I'm taking that, and that's fine. Great. Fuck them. Sell them to Saudi Arabia. I don't give a shit. Fuck them. Get them out of there. Move to there. Move away from Boston. Sixers are in really good shape, and it's obviously going to end badly because things always do. But right now,
that's why.
Right now, this feels really fucking good.
The fact that everything always ends badly is why you have to enjoy the moment. Enjoy it. There's the same reason I want to enjoy Joel's MVP. Enjoy it because it's going to be bad eventually. So for this point, we should enjoy it. Speaking of enjoying it, the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Body Bio. You would enjoy having regular number twos, wouldn't you? You would enjoy having no bloat, in your gut. You would enjoy having one gut supplement that is the best gut supplement to take. That's why you'd enjoy Body Bio. Get sodium butyrate. You want one gut supplement. Body Bio, we love them. Local, love it. Family owned and operated, love it. Good shit, good science, love it. Sodium butyrate, the best. If you're only going to take one gut supplement, take sodium butyrate. Mike can attest to it. Attest, yes, Mike?
Yeah, I have it right here, actually. Hang on.
Okay. Go. Where is it?
Bang.
There it is. Sodium butyrate. And then Butyrate. And then for me, here's what I love. E-Light. Oh, look, being hydrated, super important for your whole body. It's important for your brain. It's important. The body's being hydrated, very important. It's not just about drinking water. It's about electrolytes. And E-Light is just electrolytes, no artificial flavors, no artificial colors, no sugar, no anything, just electrolytes. Take a little bit of it, put it in your drink in the morning, put it in your drink at night. You will stay hydrated. Got rid of all the cramping problems I had in my calves, in my thighs, in my fucking feet. That was the worst. I'd be driving, I'd get a cramp in my foot. E-Light solved it. Go to bodybio.com, BodyBio.com. Use code Mike's Tummy, all one word. You get 20% off your whole order. They care about the quality over at Body Bio. If any of the batches they produce do not meet their standards, they will not sell it. They will go back to the lab and make sure that it's right before it goes out. That's what having a smaller company that cares about quality like Body Bio does. That's why it matters. Go to bodybio.com, use code Mike's Tummy, all one word, for 20% off your entire order. Okay, I want to talk about Daryl because we got a few calls about Daryl. I will start with the big picture one first. This came to 833 Lickface.
Hey guys, it's Noah calling currently from the Pocono Mountains. Just wanted to really quick respond to Mike. The whole straight line Daryl made a bunch of easy choices thing. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think building a good basketball team is harder by far than anyone, or than it seems like, let's just say, is willing to give Daryl credit for. But the thing that really gets my goat is that it's not just that he turned the James Harden opt-in into Paul George. Daryl turned Ben Simmons into Paul George in the span of like 2.5 years. Like, it's totally insane. Like the simple fact that he got the Harden deal at all, knowing what Ben Simmons ultimately turned out to be, Daryl converted a hypothetical basketball player into a top 30 player in the league. I mean, let's just give the guy his flowers. He's a good GM. We're very lucky to have him. Non-basketball question: what's your favorite activity up in the Pocono Mountains?
I don't remember that part of the voicemail. I think the thing I would like to give Daryl the credit for the most is the patience. Philly is definitely a different place to be an athlete and definitely a different place to be a general manager. There's a high level of criticism and stress and all that kind of stuff. Even like our podcasts like this don't exist in every city, like they're there, but they don't have the sort of, I think, visibility that ours does. And I think it would have been very easy for Daryl along the way to attach a first and a young player or something to Tobias and get rid of it. And I know we didn't end up needing the picks at this point. You know what I'm saying? Or I just think he stayed remarkably disciplined for Philadelphia specifically and for the team and for a team that felt like they needed it to happen now. And it's such a complete opposite from before when all the fuck up started, when it was an incredible lack of patience. It was like the opposite of what Hinkie did. And, some of it is luck, right? He played for the cap space plan and it worked, but you get credit for that. Just like you get credit for, Embiid dropping to 3 and Hinkie taking him or any of those things. I think his patience should be commended. And I think his, I don't want to give him credit for something that might not have happened, but truthfully, he was building all to this offseason while simultaneously trying to field something that had a chance previously. And I think he did both of those things quite well, even including the mistakes. And last thing, I'll stop. I don't want to do a soliloquy here, but they were up 3-2 on the Celtics for a team that was
that I won't abide.
Well, I'm just saying
I will not.
He doesn't get credit for that, but I'm just saying to be able to field a team that was competitive enough, it should have been in the conference championships that year, if their two best players hadn't have just fucking quit. And then also get to this offseason where they're actually going to have the best team of the process era. I do think he deserves a lot of credit, and I do think that the patience and commitment to whatever his plan was should be rewarded,
He definitely does. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to be patient. It's hard to be patient as a GM. It's hard to be patient as GM in Philadelphia when you're wearing the mistakes of all of the regimes before you. And the reason why, I was just pessimistic about this thing about cap space mattering in the NBA, where free agents, even if they're expiring, have so much more choice then it seems they can tell their team, hey, trade me to this place. And you can do a sign and trade. You can work it out. That's what the Sixers did with Jimmy Butler and Josh Richardson 5 years ago. And because like no star free agent has ever wanted to come here.
Yeah.
And obviously Paul George isn't, a top 10 player anymore in his prime, but he was still an all-star last year.
He's still a star player.
He's still a max level player.
Yeah.
He's still really good at every aspect of basketball, and he fits in with any team in the league. There's no team that you could look at me and like they couldn't use Paul George. He is an incredibly malleable player that can scale up, scale down, play on ball, play off ball, play defense, get out and run, play slow half court. Like he can just do everything. And obviously he's getting less athletic as he ages, but they just really need him to be steady and solid and defend and take threes and occasionally run a handful of pick and rolls a game where he can get to the rim, get guys to his spots. He's not an excellent passer. This team is definitely still, as MOC has pointed out, like lacking a pretty good passer, unless Nico Batum leaving was a bummer. It's going back to the Clippers is a bummer for us. Maybe Kelly Oubre keeps taking steps forward as a passer, as we saw in the last couple games of the regular season. Those 5 assist games really could have turned a corner for him, made a difference. But there's still a lot to do. But with Paul George, it's just like Daryl got his guy. Daryl stood up. The point that the caller made about like going from Ben Simmons to, and not just Ben Simmons, like a broken Ben Simmons to Paul George, that's flexibility. That's being willing to move off of it. Harden opting in is another flashpoint moment that we don't give enough credit for, because that allowed us to trade him for literally anything aside from him walking for nothing, which is what's happened with the Clippers. And as Paul George walks for nothing, they get nothing in return. And they're scrambling to figure it out, and they're just not going to be a good enough team to contribute. I think they'll probably be a play-in team, if that. And the Sixers, because of that random decision of Harden to opt in, it would surprise the Sixers. It surprised us. Now he gets to. I mean, Harden got paid. It worked out for Harden also. Like he got paid, he got his money, he got to go where he wanted to go. But it really worked out for the Sixers because they got those picks. We can use those picks. We have the cap space to sign a player that is available this year that wanted to come here. I mean, it's a thing you don't say about the Sixers very much, is that it all really worked out. And we're not at the end of it. We didn't win a championship. This isn't a victory lap of like when the process did work, obviously. But like the sense of we haven't reached the promised land, but the fact that a star free agent chose Philadelphia is a really, really big deal. It's a really big deal in basketball, and people take note of that. And
they got a guy from Los Angeles to leave California to come to Philadelphia as a free agent in the NBA.
And there are really role player spots available that they're going to keep filling out over the course of the season and then as we get into the trade deadline and into the buyout market and stuff, like people are going to want to come here. Like it's a good team. They have a real shot to win one. And there's like that hunger of getting Embiid his first, getting Paul George his first, like Daryl his first. Like it's really going to, it's wild that this worked out, because so many iterations of this could have just gone, okay, I hope you really like
KCP.
I do. KCP and Derek Jones, which I do. I like those. Like those are my kind of guys. But like you really need with how Embiid's probably not going to play more than 60 games a season in his career. And we talked about playoff Embiid and how long those playoffs are. It really becomes every single thing from now in October when the season starts, at the All-Star break, whatever, comes down to like getting Embiid healthy for the playoffs and getting him healthy for 2 months of a playoff run, which
is long, which, I mentioned to you this year. I felt it this year. I felt how long that is,
so, I mean, this kicks ass. This kicks ass. And then, we didn't talk about this yet, but Oubre re-signing.
Yep.
2 years, $60 million. That's a great contract. I think that's a team friendly deal. I think Oubre wants to be here kind of deal. I want to start. I want to play on this team.
Well, he said, by the way, in his last interview, his locker room interview, he talked about how much he liked it here and how, that he wanted to stay, essentially, which is a nice thing too.
And he's an imperfect player. Like now that he's not on a veterans minimum, like prove it deal, I'm sure he's going to feel in his second year. I'm sure he's going to feel a little bit more sauced up to play a certain way. I'm sure there's going to be some frustrating things, but we know what he's capable of.
Especially when him and McCain come in with matching fucking
that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be very fun. McCain's definitely gonna get Oubre to paint his nails 100%.
So somebody pointed out to me on Twitter, Oubre already paints his nails. We just never noticed it.
Oh, cool.
It's in a bunch of photos of him. Great. Yeah, so he's already a nail painter. So those guys are already two peas in a pod.
Yeah, Oubre is just the millennial version of that.
Yes.
McCain is Gen Z. Yeah. We know what Oubre can do. Like, we know how good of a defender he can be when he's engaged, especially on ball. And he gets like reachy and handsy and bites on stuff, but his athleticism and his strength and the way he can slide his feet. And there was a lot of stuff that we saw at the beginning of last season of him moving off ball on offense and working well with Embiid as a cutter. And I'm really excited to see more of that as, they're both healthy, because they weren't both healthy at the same time last year for a while. Obviously, Oubre got in the car accident, and then Embiid missed the rest of the regular season for the most part. That's a really good force. They still don't have a power forward, but Oubre is gonna have a lot of time as a catch and shoot guy. I hope he is just taking catch and shoot jumper, and then when they need to, because Paul George doesn't do this as much as he used to. Maxi's not that big, and Embiid is taking care of his body. Oubre can get to the fucking rim, and getting to the fucking rim is sometimes what you fucking need. And I love that part of Oubre's game and how much he did it last year. So I'm excited to see how Oubre grows with Embiid and grows with this team and has more opportunity now that Tobias is gone. Oubre can be the guy that goes, all right, I'm gonna be wide open catch and shoot guy, and then I'm gonna be like attack a closeout and get all the way to the rim guy.
Yeah, and try to dunk, by the way.
And try to fucking dunk, because it's good. I mean, like the Tobias being out of here, and we've done this before, but now he's really, really gone. Now he's really, 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 really gone.
Congratulations to Tobias and Terrell Harris. And by the way, I never said this on the pod, but I have to say it. When I tweeted out, we did that episode when when that ridiculous Tobias Harris article came out. And I tweeted out a bunch of ridiculous quotes from it. Mm-hmm. Within 15 minutes, I got an email from Terrell Harris.
Good at his job.
Offering to connect me to the analytics whiz who did the statistics for that article.
Not the writer of the article. The whiz?
The analytics whiz who did the statistics for the article. And I just want to be clear, I've never met or spoken to or communicated with Terrell Harris before. And the email came within 15 minutes.
He's good at his job. Look,
congratulations.
I have agents. We have agents.
Yeah.
Like, you like to see someone that's good at their job.
Yes.
Terrell Harris is good at his fucking job.
He is.
Good for him. Yeah. He's not Tobias. It's not his fault that his son is extremely gun shy as a shooter and slow and doesn't get to loose balls and never drew a charge. All the stuff that we don't like about Tobias, doesn't get to any 50-50 ball. It's not his fault. It's his fault to get his client fucking paid and to defend his client from fuckfaces like us when we talk shit about it. Good job, Terrell. Absolutely good job. But without Tobias on the team this year, now Oubre or KJ Martin can be like, obviously it helps if everybody on the floor can shoot, and those guys can a little bit, and so could Tobias. He's not Ben or Matisse or whatever, but you can have a little bit. You can really only have one guy who's hesitant if they're contributing in many other ways. And now Oubre scaling up to be that a little bit hesitant guy, while everybody else is just pulling from wherever. Eric Gordon, obviously Paul George, obviously Maxey and Joel. Like, it just makes things make a lot more sense. It makes the offense flow a lot more. You're not going to be like punching yourself in the neck, being like, just shoot the goddamn ball, let's take the first shot that we get. And so I'm excited for Oubre on this team. I'm excited to see him grow, and I'm happy for him. I mean, he took the minimum last year when things were looking bad. He had a bad reputation for as far as like a team player, and he rehabbed his image, and he got the room mid-level. That's $8 million. Obviously, he used to get paid more, but he's a really important contributing starter level player on a contending team, and I'm happy he's here.
I actually have one more great voicemail about Daryl, a theory about Daryl that I think we should address. And then we'll get to, obviously, we just talked about Oubre. I'm also glad that Oubre is back. And we'll get to the other stuff because the Sixers obviously still have moves to make, and there have been some other moves in the NBA so far. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by MortgageCS. MortgageCS, your independent mortgage broker, not lender, broker. What the broker does, the broker goes to the lenders and gets you your mortgage. So it's an interesting time in real estate in that, like, it's a crazy market, but there's not a lot of houses being sold, which is one of the reasons it's crazy. There's very low inventory. Because of this, there's a lot of mortgage brokers and lenders, by the way, like closing down. And a lot of them are scaling back their staff. Some of them are only working at night. And them not being available when you need them is a problem. You know, especially in a highly competitive market. MortgageCS has not done any of that. They have not scaled back. They have the same staff, and they're able to do this because they have not grown too big. So they don't have to make these cuts that hurt their service. Their service is great. They're going to help you land that house. You know, when there's 25 other bids, you need every advantage you can get. MortgageCS is that advantage. And some of these lenders, by the way, missing deadlines, filling out paperwork wrong, not with MortgageCS. They are paying specific attention to you. So what I want you to do is, if you need a mortgage, or if you're just even in the beginning stages, or even if you have questions, I want you to text or call their CEO, Ben, whenever you want. 267-391-7425. That is 267-391-7425. Text him right now. Ask him what he thinks about the Oubre signing. Ask him what the mid-level exception is. He probably has no idea, but you should do that. He's always going to be available for you. I am proud to tell you go to MortgageCS. It is an important thing. The mortgage part is important. Also, their name means something to listing agents. You know, when they're selling a house, they have to look at the offers and say, will this one, you know, will this mortgage come through? Will this mortgage come through? Will this close? And MortgageCS has a good name. They'll even call the listing agent to help you get that house. Once again, call or text Ben, 267-391-7425, or go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. See the amazing little microsite they've built for us. It is amazing. Of all of our partners, that is the best little website, Ricky website, mortgagecs.com/Ricky, or call or text Ben, 267-391-7425, and check out all the great 5-star Google reviews. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com/Ricky for more information. All right, we got this one more Daryl voicemail, 833 Lickface.
Let's hear it.
Hey, Spike, Mike, CJ, and specifically Daryl. I have a Daryl-related question. I am calling at 12:20 a.m. About 10 minutes ago, Shams tweeted that the Warriors are in talks of finalizing a sign-and trade with Buddy Hield. This, at this specific hour, as well as Paul George negotiations going late into the night, has me wondering, is Daryl doing this on purpose? Does Daryl have some sort of spreadsheet or data that indicates people are more pliable, more willing to negotiate late at night? Do these GMs give up more than they would otherwise at noon when they're negotiating at midnight and just want to get a deal done? Just something to think about, maybe something to ask the man himself next time he's on the pod. Non-basketball question. What do you think about, I don't know. No non-basketball question. What are your thoughts? Right?
It's an interesting theory. I doubt it, but it's an interesting theory.
I mean, oftentimes that's just when it's being reported, but I think there are other stuff that is agreed to ahead of the reporting. It's just a matter of like when the agencies are now, comfortable releasing that information.
Now the Paul George one was that late.
That was that late, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the big ones though.
So I don't know.
The Buddy Hield thing we haven't talked about.
Yeah. Well, real quick.
Sign and trade to the Warriors.
Okay.
About 24 hours ago. Nothing since.
No.
No contract information. No what the trade return is. It's going to be a trade exception.
Well, it's not done, right?
It's not done. I think it's part of a
bigger deal.
Noted that it's part of a bigger deal with maybe 4 or 5 teams that have already like partially completed some trades. So I'm interested to see what that is. If Daryl getting anything for Buddy is obviously good for a guy that was not. I really thought there was no chance that they were going to re-sign him for the amount of money it would cost, and that would just be especially. Yeah, I mean, especially after you draft McCain. Not that he's going to play such a major factor this year, but like you can't be wasting salary cap, what limited salary cap there is on guys that can't defend and aren't athletic. Look, one of the good things about a bunch of teams not having salary cap space is sign-in trades like this become necessary and helpful, and they're in the position to do it. We'll go over, there's a couple of other players that, have left or whatever. I sort of have, so this is basically the way it works for the Sixers. The Sixers have about $9 million in cap space if they cut Bball Paul, and then they have to do minimums. And they can do whatever they want with that cap space. They split it into 2 $4.5 million contracts, blah, blah, blah. They do have the ability to stretch that into almost $20 million by signing, like, let's say KJ Martin, he's the best option there, to a bigger contract and doing a sign and trade. You could bring back up to $20 million in that case. Or they could just trade the Bball Paul contract for a $9 million thing. Bball Paul's not going to be on the team. And when this finally happens, we will do our farewell Bball. But the thing I keep coming back to is I just think Daryl has one more meaningful thing in him this offseason. I can't figure out what it is, but it's something. Well, I think that this Buddy trade could be indicative of something. I think Sixers Adam guessed something like if they get a guy from the Warriors, then they can turn around and package Bball plus that guy. Gui Santos has been mentioned for Dorian Finney-Smith. And that would be obviously incredibly cool.
Yeah.
Would be a tailor-made for this team. Maxi Oubre, PG, Dorian, and Embiid is great. He's a big wing. He can defend up and down. He's a good shooter now. Doesn't do it a ton of other stuff, but he's still athletic. Like, just really would be such a perfect fit on this team for a Nets team that he's expiring right now. He's a player option next year or the following year, but which will probably, I assume, he'll decline and get a bigger contract out of it. But would be really, really nice if you do Bball and a first for Dorian, basically, would be, I think, something that everybody would be comfortable with, and he'd be a helpful player on this team.
Yep. A couple other things. Nick Batum goes back to the Clippers, 2 years, $10.6 million.
Just wanted to be in LA.
Wanted to be in LA. Wife wanted to be in LA. Happy wife, happy life, happy Nick. Goodbye, Nick. You were a great Sixer in your limited time. We all loved you.
I loved him, man. I'm really bummed that he's not going to be here, but.
Yep. Mo Bamba signs a 1-year contract with the Clippers.
Yes.
He came on the podcast. You're definitely a nice guy.
Great guy.
Just
could be very close, a lot closer, geographically toward JJ Redick and finding out whatever happened with that Uber.
Oh, with the person in the cage. Yes.
And again, that's not the funny part. The funny part was that
he told
JJ
Mo
was
Bamba
telling it
podcast.
to a rookie Mo Bamba on his podcast as if there was a big punchline coming, and it never came. And that is, more than anything else, I like JJ more than you do, but like that is so revealing of what is that? Where did your brain go that you thought that you had to take that to Mo Bamba? Anyway, hopefully Mo gets his answer.
Yeah. I mean, I could do a whole other JJ podcast with some of his
happy
quotes
for you.
this
This will
week.
be a good season for you.
Yeah, I lost it. We were talking about on the radio show the other day. There was a quote of him when he was like, I hate the word gaslighting. I hate the words that people use on the internet all the time. But I haven't felt so gaslit when JJ was like, hey, I want to talk to you guys about something. Bronny earned this. We didn't give him anything. And I'm like, and I have nothing, zero. I want to be clear, and I think you'll believe me on this one. 0 against Bronny. Not one little bit. Cheer for him. I want it to be good for him. do not tell me, do not act like I'm fucking crazy for saying the reason that you guys drafted him is because LeBron's his dad after his freshman year scoring 4 points a game. Like, come on.
For sure.
Yeah.
I will say that, like, it's not ridiculous that they would give the 55th pick in the draft to, it's not like malpractice. That's not going to undermine the Lakers.
No, but it's just
situation.
It's just don't.
And he is like a prospect. He needs to become a way better shooter, but he's not a bad basketball player. He's better.
But he wouldn't have been drafted.
He's better than Thanasis. Not this year. He should have gone back. If it was if his name was Bronny Smith, then he would have gone back to college or transferred.
Yes,
and maybe been an interesting player
in 2 more years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Just don't fucking make me. You guys are the assholes for saying this. Anyway,
sure. Yes. Yeah.
I think you'll like this one. This came from Lance, writes RickySanchez@gmail.com. Mike, who the hell is the new under 30 we will sign? We were so slow last year signing everyone we could get over 30, and signing everyone we can get over 30 isn't helping at all. So anyone under 30 you have your eyes on?
Well, Kelly Oubre is 28. So
Okay.
That's nice.
Yep.
We got to talk about the Sixers Summer League team, which we will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about that roster. Good roster.
By the way, the Danny going to Summer League will be reporting from Summer League. So we will have the Danny in Las Vegas.
God bless him.
For Summer League.
I think there's a good possibility that they trade Bball Paul for someone who's under 30, maybe Cody Martin. I know people are talking about Caleb Martin in a free agent signing, but I think also his brother Cody on the Hornets could be a possibility. We talked about Taylor Horton-Tucker last time, Lonnie Walker, Josh Okogie, as far as like a really good defender that is bouncy and athletic, and obviously has shooting issues. But I think there's a couple of guys that I still really like a lot. You said something about Bball Paul. I would not rule out, if Daryl doesn't have a guy lined up that he thinks is worth it, if he really believes, and I think he does, that Bball Paul's contract is a positive asset and teams will eventually see it as one. I wouldn't be surprised if he went into the season with Bball and then traded him at some point during the season for, like, if a team's backup center goes down or something like that and they need him. I have a sinking feel. I really don't want to cut Bball. I think that would be an acceptance of some wrongness. That's why I would make a bad GM, because I would feel like guilty about waiving Bball because I don't think he deserves it. I do think he's an NBA player, and that is a good contract for him as a backup center. Has some more development to go, obviously. And I'm happy with Andre Drummond here for less money. I think that is a good swap. But I'm just not ruling out the possibility that if a trade doesn't reveal itself, if free agency they'd end up going like, this guy's not better than Bball Paul, I'm not going to cut him. I think I could see Daryl going into the season with Bball and going, maybe Nick Nurse throws out the occasional Bball at the 4 situation this year, the way that he did with like Precious Achiuwa in Toronto, or Chris Boucher, that kind of thing.
I think this is very, I guess, possible, but very unlikely to me.
Yeah, I think my sinking feeling is that they just cut him and they sign somebody else, and I'll feel guilty about that. I will feel personally responsible for Bball being cut. I don't know why, but I don't like it. It rubs me the wrong way. I hope that they just trade him for like Ayo Dosunmu or Cody Martin or Kenrich Williams or something. That would be much more satisfying for me.
A couple of other players people suggesting in the email. This came to rights@rickysanchez.com. I know you're going to think I'm lying, but the email address, and he signed it, Dipshit. So this comes from Dipshit.
Hell yeah, Dipshit.
Hi, guys. Dipshit here. We need a true power forward. We need rebounding. We need size. We need someone with an edge who is tired of losing. We need beef stew. So my question is, if not beef stew, then who? That is Isaiah Stewart? Is Isaiah his first name? On the Pistons.
I mean, like, not a bad player. To me, he's just not a power forward. He's
a center.
He's a center. He's not a good enough shooter to spread the floor. He's not like mobile enough. He tries. The effort is there. He's just not gifted enough as a wing to play that position. I think he's much better off as sort of like an undersized stretch-ish 5. And you just live with that. I don't think he's a starter level player. I wouldn't be for his contract. I just wouldn't be. That wouldn't be the way I would use those resources.
Two more players to ask you about. Let me first talk about Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. BigBarker.com/Ricky, or actually, more importantly, the link I will put in the notes. Because if you go to the link I would put in the notes at BigBarker.com, and I'll put it in the chat here, you get the commemorative Rebel t-shirt that we made for the playoffs, but the playoffs only lasted a week, so we have a bunch of shirts left over. So you get that. You get the Process Pup patch, the black and white one, the red, white, and blue Process Pup patch, and stickers. Now, all that stuff is great. The extra stuff is great, but the most important thing is the bed. And I know you see dog beds all the time. You see them in the pet stores. You see them advertised to you on Instagram, so on and so forth. But it's really important that you get your dog a good bed and a good mattress. And the Big Barker dog bed is the only one on the market that makes that kind of difference. It's the only one on the market that is literally engineered by experts to keep your dog healthy or support your dog's joints. I want you to, if you have a dog, obviously, otherwise this doesn't really matter to you. But if you have a dog, I want you to look at your dog laying on the bed and look, it might be fluffy or whatever, but when your dog lays on it, it sinks to the bottom. And I know this because Rebel used to have one of these, and Scotchy, our foster, had one of these when she came over. That's not a bed. Beds do not collapse when you lay on them. Beds support you. That's the difference. If you slept on one of those, you would feel like shit. How dare you? How dare you have your dog sleep on one of those? You got to keep your dog healthier and happier. If you get your dog a Big Barker dog bed, and all different sizes, from the Barker Jr., tiny one, to the giant one, all different colors. They have this lilac color now one. They have a brand new blue that is awesome, that you can take the covers off and wash them. Just incredible. The bed has been tested by Penn Vet. They did a study. All these things I'm telling you, from an improvement in joint function to a reduction in pain severity, reduction in joint stiffness. Do it. It is better for your dog. And the final thing, take a picture of your dog on the bed with the Process Pup patch, post them on social, becomes an official Process Pup. There's a 10-year warranty. The foam won't flatten or they replace it for free. A 1-year at-home trial. Try it for a full year. If you don't like it, your dog doesn't like it, they'll give you a full refund and they'll even pay for the shipping. Handmade in the USA. Big Barker dog beds. But by the way, when the Danny was co-hosting with me and he barked, he did a good bark.
That's great.
He fucked up the sign off on the pod when I was like, do you know this? He's like, yeah, I do. I go, all right, you down with TTP? And he's like, lick face. And I'm like, no, come on, man. You work here now. Okay. Writes to RickySanchez@gmail.com. I have two more players to ask you about in the emails. This is from Jason. Hi, all. I'm intrigued by the possibility of trading a few assets to pry Bogdan from Atlanta, Bogdan Bogdanovic. What do you think about the chances and fit with the Sixers? Would a Maxey, Oubre, Bogdanovic, George, and Bede starting lineup do okay without a true power forward? The salary seems like a steal, easily tradable, and I think would help us improve while potentially staying under the apron going forward. I don't know what Atlanta is doing, but he supposedly was on the market last year, and I would assume they're trying to get younger. Thoughts?
I mean, I like the ideas of him as a sixth man. I don't know that this. What would the trade look like?
Well, you would have to you would have to sign KJ Martin to a bigger contract. Doesn't Bogdan make like 20?
Doesn't you have to wait some time before they?
You just have to do Martin? I don't think so. No.
You can sign him and trade him right away, and you can aggregate that.
Well, you're not aggregating anything.
Okay.
You're just sending. I don't think you can aggregate it with other players, but you can aggregate it with picks. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I think I love him. I feel like our other guard just needs to be like a little bigger, a little stronger.
Well, it's Kelly Oubre in the Woj tweet.
Oh, really?
Starting shooting guard. It was
really? Is that what he said?
Big, bold, blinking letters. So it was like, okay.
Well, then I guess we don't have to worry about it. Then I love him.
It's fine.
Yeah, I love Bogdan as a six man. But
yeah, it'd be fine. I think again, like I don't know. You just need big athletes that can stand up. I mean, so much of what happened in the Knicks series was them getting abused physically by stronger, more athletic, hungrier, high motor players. And I like Bogdan. I think he's a nice player. And if instead of Maxey, you had somebody that was much more defensive minded, although I do think he's continuing to get better on the defensive end. I'm high on Maxey's defensive potential. I don't think he's someone you can just pick on. He's still small.
Yeah.
I would rather have somebody that can. He's a great player, but nothing against Bogdan. Just give me somebody that's a little better defensively.
So speaking of which, here is the final one. And, this would be a dream to have him here. But this came from Zach, writes RickySanchez@gmail.com. Hey, guys, I feel like Marcus Smart hasn't had his name mentioned at all and could be an interesting trade piece at a $20 million salary if other options don't work out. I mean, when was the last time acquiring a Celtic went wrong? Non-basketball question. What's your favorite travel destination and where is somewhere on your bucket list?
I really like going to Hawaii. I've gone to a bunch of the islands. It's sick. It's just fucking mid-sick there.
And I like Portland, and my 2 bucket list places are Tokyo and Australia.
I like everywhere. I like going
Really?
and seeing shit. I like even in America. Like fucking, I was in Memphis for like 3 weeks last year for Young Rock, and I was like, Memphis rocks. This is sick. I liked it all. Again, Marcus Smart, like obviously be perfect. I think that Memphis has basically thrown last year out the window with all the injuries that they went through. I think that they're still going for it and want to see how it actually looks with Ja and Smart and Bane and Jaren and everybody they got there. So I don't think he's like available. And once I like became like got an adult job, like I can't do salary cap stuff. Somebody else just tell me what it is. So I just don't know how the KJ Martin stuff works. I know that they can sign him to a bigger deal and trade him eventually. I'm just not sure about how quickly they can do all that stuff, how that works.
You know what?
Go to a different podcast for that. That's not here.
I'm going to ask, there's this guy that Sixers Adam told everyone to follow, and I followed him, and he's actually fucking awesome, is Yossi Goslin. And he actually explains the stuff really, really well. And let's see if he will respond. So I will. Also,
while you do that, it's also, there was a report that Sixers' second round pick, Adem Bona, who seems great. There was a nice little feature on him on the Sixers social, is going to snag a full roster spot, which is cool.
Yeah.
I like that. It seems probably hinky special-ish.
Also seems like another Bball Paul, death knell or whatever.
Yeah, I think that everyone's assuming that. And it's just nice it is a nice thing to have rookie scale contracts on the roster locked up for multiple years. That's the benefit of it. And if you can get contributors there, then that's just a steal. That's just such a steal. It feels you're growing with them, and then both in trades and in contract wise, like, that just becomes a sweetener. The Sixers had no sweeteners for seemingly years. Maxey was too good. Springer wasn't good enough. Like, just having guys that could be intriguing the way that like Emmanuel Quickley was, and like Bones Highland, and just like guys that are like, oh, that player is interesting. What the Warriors have right now, if they trade for like Lauri Markkanen or something, they have those kinds of young players that could be intriguing to other teams that are still at that low value. So I love giving McCain and Bona and obviously Ricky real roster spots and giving them the opportunity to do it, because like, to me, there's nothing more pointless than having several uncontributing old guys that are just taking up space. Call it like the Trevor Booker roster spots.
When you guys when you and Danny, even though he doesn't like being called Danny, but the Danny is fine. When you guys did your second round pod and you talked about Adem Bona, did you talk about the fact that his last name sounds like, if you're an Australian, saying boner?
No, I think that's unspoken.
Okay.
I think Bona alert is pretty good. If he dunks, that's pretty good. Good dunks or blocks. Bona alert would be nice.
Bona alert is very good.
But we didn't talk. I think it was really like it was subtext, I think.
Okay. All right. Just want to run through some other deals that have happened in the NBA. Just want to find out if you find any of them interesting enough.
Melton.
Oh yeah. We lost Melton. 1 year to Golden State, $12 million. I hope it goes well for him. I love him. I love him as a Sixer. Would be great on this team. I understand them not signing him. The fact that he only got 1 year does make it seem like his back is still iffy, but he'd be awesome on the Warriors, and he will be good over there if he's healthy.
Yeah, it's funny that him and Buddy get to go to the Warriors together. That's a nice pairing. Off with Steph, that'll be cool and hard to cover. Yeah, I think the injury stuff is real. The back stuff is very real, and it's cool that he got paid still. I think the 1 year indicates that, but if the Sixers were to get him, I would much rather have gone like a longer term deal at a less annual value to give him some of the security of, okay, I'll make sure I take the time to get healthy. But it's just the Sixers had once they signed Paul, such a small room to play with that contribute, like, giving so much of their cap to a player that might just not be healthy was a risk. And I understand them doing it with Melton is a different kind of risk, and it could pay off really well because he's definitely a starter level player in this league, or starter 6-man level player, and $12 million is good for that. But I don't blame the Sixers not doing it at all.
No. I don't either. I didn't expect him to be back. I feel good for him that he got the deal, and I hope he succeeds. Yeah. But Kyle Anderson,
and I'm bummed. Sorry, and I'm bummed that he didn't get to play in that Knicks series. Like,
I am too,
because I think that would have made a difference.
Yep. Well, yeah. I mean, Tobias Harris scored 0 points in the Sixers.
I didn't say it would have made the difference. I think it would have made a difference.
Yeah, if he scored 3 points, it would be.
That's so much more than 0.
Yeah.
Markedly more.
Kyle Anderson, 3 years, $27 million to the Warriors. Don't really care very much.
I would have liked Kyle Anderson here.
Yeah,
I would have liked that. I need somebody who can pass. I would like it to be Dario. Dario, who's dominating overseas right now. I would like it to be Dario.
DeLon Wright, 1 year, $3 million to the Bucks. Not bad.
Sure.
Klay Thompson, 3 years, $50 million to Dallas. They really need a guy who can shoot. I sort of wonder if Klay's cooked in 3 years, whatever. I do think it's also funny that he decided not to play for the Lakers for 4 years and $80 million, even though LeBron was going to take a pay cut. But
pretty cool.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. Maybe, I think Dallas is the place they were just in the finals. I think that's a more I give a shit about winning another one type of place.
Yeah.
So I respect that.
Absolutely.
And I do think obviously defensively there were going to be issues, but Kyrie and Luka with Klay Thompson off ball, like that's and a rim runner, like Derek Lively. Holy shit. I mean, that's tough to cover. That'll be something.
Isaiah Hartenstein signs for 3 years and $87 million. Now,
good for him, man.
Here's a cap thing, is that their problem is actually going to come in 2 years, after 2 years when Jalen Williams and they have to pay Chet. And so I didn't see it reported, but I wonder if that third year is guaranteed or not. But
no, it's an option. It's a team option.
There you go. Team option?
Yeah.
That makes sense. There you go. Yeah. So it's basically a 2 year deal, but that's a lot of money. But
good for him getting paid. And I think he's going to start. People keep saying he'll come off the bench, but I think
he'll start.
I think they will want to work Chet into like NBA strength. He was obviously excellent last year, and he's going to be excellent. And he can play the 4 or the 5, probably the best against most teams. It's best for him to play the 5, but I think they also want to protect him and protect his body a little bit.
Yeah.
So having Hartenstein in there is just not a bad thing.
No, and it weakens the Knicks. The Knicks were assuming that Hartenstein would come back, and
for some of it at least, yeah, maybe not lately, but not once they got McHale. I think
the Knicks are definitely going to be a motherfucker, and they're going to be an annoying team. But I don't know, 5 draft picks for Bridges, $41 million a year for OG Anunoby. Like, if their top 3 guys are Brunson, Anunoby, and Bridges, and ours are Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George, like, I will fill out the rest of the roster. I'll take my chances there. Like, I will absolutely take my chances there.
How do you feel about the Knicks trading Randall for a center, like a Clint Capella or something like that?
I'd be curious to see. But, they trade for Clint Capella. I wonder who plays the 4 in that case. Is it Josh Hart? And then in that case, you basically have 2 non-shooters on the floor. I know he murdered us, but Capella and Hart is tough from an offense.
Robinson's the same thing.
Yeah.
Hartenstein's not a shooter, same thing.
No, yeah, for sure.
I think Randall's interesting because he didn't play in that series, obviously, and I think that he can be helpful at times, but I think within the optimized offense that the Knicks have, he's not around.
No, he can't. They can't. Yeah. Isaiah Joe signs for 4 years and $48 million with the Thunder.
Love him. Happy
Yeah.
for him. And Aaron Wiggins, also great. I mean, they're great. They're a great organization. Thunder, great organization.
Jonathan Isaac, 5 years, $84 million. I don't know.
I like that. I like that length.
Yeah, if he's
I like that
healthy.
length for him. Yeah, for sure. But that gives him, like, there's gonna be some of those years that he's not. There's gonna be some of those years that he's helpful enough. I'm happy for Orlando, man. I would love for them to. This was sort of like a fluky push season because some teams were injured and not as good, but they're gonna be a top 5 mainstay in the East for a long time.
Yeah, they still look like they're gonna have trouble scoring when you look at their starting lineup. Honestly,
Yeah, for sure. We'll see if
Donovan
Anthony Black
Mitchell
takes a step forward. But can I make a prediction right now? Right now on the podcast? Orlando wins more games than the Bucks next year.
I don't think that's crazy. I don't believe in the Bucks at all. You know, Damian Lillard and Giannis don't really like playing with each other very much. It seems like half their team is on the trade block. Their coach is a phenomenal dickhead, fuckface, who was under 500 with them last year. So, yeah. Anything else? Donovan Mitchell signed a 3-year, $150 million extension with the Cavs. Basically, it's a weird team, man. I was on a Cleveland radio station today.
There was no talk
Yeah.
about him resigning. It was like Knicks, and then they went for Bridges, and it's like Donovan Mitchell actually loves it here. It was like, I don't know that that's actually true. Maybe they trade him to like Brooklyn eventually in some way, but yeah, it's bizarre. It's bizarre that he just like kind of quietly resigned. Yeah.
Yeah. Jason Tatum signs his extension, 5 years, $314 million.
That is the Saudis' issue now.
Yes.
That is not
Saudi issue.
The Celtics owners' problem. They are gone, honey.
Do you want to talk about real quick, one more JJ Redick thing, and then we could talk about the Summer League roster. But this came from James, writes Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. Hey guys, I was wondering what will become of our friend Tommy Alter now that JJ has taken the Lakers job. A quick Google search has landed me on his Wikipedia page where I noticed something interesting. Tommy Alter is the son of Emmy-winning producer Jonathan Alter, a well-connected member of the entertainment industry. I then navigated to the images tab where I was stunned to find this image of him sporting what appears to be an abnormally large collar. My question is Tommy Alter the Brian Colangelo of podcasting? And if so, doesn't that make JJ Redick the Adam Silver of podcasting for forcing him upon us against our will?
Wow.
I did see Tommy in a picture with JJ, I think post-press conference, where they were both wearing suits.
What's he doing there, man?
Dude, if he is somehow on their staff, I will
What's he doing there?
Die. By the
What's
way,
he doing?
JJ not coaching their summer league team because he doesn't need any practice coaching because he's got enough practice.
That's very funny. I didn't hear that. That is
so
funny
summer league team. Wait, do you have the summer league team in front of you?
I got it.
Okay.
So Jeff Doughton is on the Salt Lake City roster,
okay.
Which is interesting because they did decline his option.
Yep.
I'm still confused as to why they declined that option because they could have, had they picked it up, they could have traded that with Bball for Dorian Smith or something like that.
Yeah.
I found it a little bizarre that they didn't do that, but maybe there's something I'm missing. Ricky Council playing. Love him. Jared McCain playing. Yes.
Love it.
Adembona playing. David Jones from out of Memphis playing. A wing on the two-way. Another two-way player from Philadelphia, Justin Edwards, out of UK, playing. This is good. These are a lot of good players so far. More good players to come. Former Sixer Tony Bradley.
Wow, that's a shocker.
Playing for maybe a roster spot. Maybe he gets in there and they just go, he's good enough. I mean, I could see, until they sign Bona, I could see them being like, if Bradley's so much better than him, I could see them going like, we're just going to give Bradley a veteran's minimum. He's going to be on the roster, and Bona, you can take it two-way. So I wouldn't rule that out. RJ Hampton, former first-round pick.
I don't think I remember him. What?
Really?
What's his deal?
Denver and Orlando.
Okay.
He's from Australia. He's Australian guy, or he played in Australia. Maybe not. He's from Texas, but he played in Australia. He's only 23.
Okay.
And he is not good enough at anything to do it at an NBA level. But he's athletic, and he could have gotten better, and he's still just 23. He can handle a little bit. He could shoot a little bit. He didn't shoot it well enough at the NBA level. He's a little too small. It's a little bit of like kind of an in-betweener guy. but he went 24th in 2020 in the Maxey draft, just a couple picks after Maxey. Interesting. I mean, interesting. He was good in the past and hasn't figured out the NBA level, but certainly a guy worth taking a shot on a summer league team. Wouldn't hate it if they feel like he's turning a corner, figure some stuff out. In addition to Romeo Langford, former Celtic, 24 years old, a little bit bigger wing, size not as much of an issue there, but still also can't quite shoot, can't quite do anything at an NBA level to be really anywhere. There's a lot of those guys, man.
Yeah,
there's a lot of those guys. He was the 14th overall pick in the 2019 draft by the Celtics. Played a year at Indiana, and there's a lot of those guys where it's like you're good at a lower level, and it's like, are you good enough to play on ball at the NBA level? Almost always no. And are you capable enough as a shooter and at the little things and defense to earn playing time? And with Langford and Hampton at the ages they were drafted, young, the answer was like absolutely not. And so they kind of flamed out early, and here they are at 23 and 24, played in the G League overseas, and they're trying to find a home. And I think that in the same way that like Stanley Johnson is a guy that I really like very much and would love to take a shot at. These guys are a little bit earlier in their careers, and they still think there's a shot to give them a shot. So I like taking a swing on these guys. Rookie guy I like on the summer league team, out of Syracuse, New York, or Syracuse University at least, Judah Mintz, who played 2 years at Syracuse.
Okay.
He played point guard at Syracuse. He's combo guardy. The shot is the issue, but like he's got a pretty funky rhythm to his game. Really good passer. I think he's an NBA player. I think he's got some sauce to him. So Judah Mintz is a guy that I'm interested to see. Like he kind of had a better reputation coming in to this season. They thought he was going to take a leap at Syracuse, and he kind of didn't. Comes out anyway after his sophomore year, and people still thought he was going to be drafted, and he wasn't. So I'm interested. I think this is my most interesting non-rostered summer league player, and I'm going to be looking for Judah Mintz and see if they could maybe get him on a 2A. That would be cool. Jordan Tucker, who was on the Sixers summer league team last year, I think he played in Delaware. He's 6'7", big body, catch and shoot guy, doesn't do much else. Darius Days also played for the Sixers in the past, athletic, two-guard, wing type. Keve Aluma from Virginia Tech, who played overseas the last couple of years, and then some guys I don't know.
Wow,
so
that's a stunner. You really are married now with a,
I
job.
don't know who these guys are, and I'm big enough to admit it. I didn't even research it, so I'm assuming that the guys I've heard of are good, and the guys I haven't are bad. That is the assumption I'm going to be making right now. But it's a pretty stacked summer league team. I would love for some of these guys to pop, man. It would be really cool if Ricky was just like, I'm too good for summer league. I'm too big and athletic, and I know what I'm doing too much.
But he's
it would be
not.
Cool if what?
Well, he's not too good for summer league. Ricky.
I'm saying I want him to play too good.
Yes.
I want him to play
fair,
like
fair.
he's too good for summer league and come out there and just
Yes,
be like,
I agree.
sit me after the second game.
Yes. I misunderstood you. Yep.
I would love to see it with Jared McCain. I would love to see. I'm sure Justin Edwards is going to struggle a little bit, but he's still worthy of the swing that they took on him. Bone is going to be a little bit lost and stuff, but I want Ricky to be good. I want McCain to be good, and I would think David Jones is an interesting guy because he's got a big body and he was really on ball a lot at Memphis, and he played really really well statistically, and feels like an NBA player, but he's also capable of just looking like so out of place in a sense of like he cannot play team basketball. So I think there's a chance that he pops and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? How did he get to us undrafted? And there's a chance that you're like, this guy shouldn't be playing basketball anywhere. What does he do? Where does he think he's being on the court? So that's the biggest like swing for me is David Jones. I'm hoping it's on the positive side. But I'm excited. I love Summer League, man. I love checking on my little guys. A lot of great memories at Summer League. Happy that the Danny is going to get to experience it.
Yeah. We're excited for the Danny. I will end on this. We got this great email from, what is her name? Kara Kozer. This message is for Spike, Mike, CJ, and Daryl. If you're not Spike, Mike, CJ, or Daryl, you can still read this message with haste. My name is Kara Kozer. I am the front man for a fun and frisky Philly 5-piece band called Kozer. I have a few facts I would like to share with you. 1, my boyfriend is obsessed with the rights to Ricky Sanchez. I don't mean in the funny pretend obsessed way either. I mean like he wants to figure out how to invite you all to our wedding. Am I engaged yet? No. This is the level of dedication I'm talking about. 2, because he listens to you all the time, I am also forced to hear the podcast. I've come to ignore all of the in-depth sports talk that makes no sense to me, but really love the soothing cadence of your voices and storytelling. Thank you for this. 3, remember 5 seconds ago when I said I was in a band? I still am, and we did a fun cover of your extremely catchy intro song. I did it initially as a surprise for my boyfriend, but then our saxophonist got really into it, and now, well, I want to share it with you. And how cool would it be to surprise my sweet boyfriend by you playing it on the podcast? 4, I am certain he would poop in his pants. Attached is the song. So here is a little bit of somebody covering. This is, I believe, the second. Marion Hill covered it, and here is Kozer. Ooh. I just can't imagine.
Putting a lot of sauce on that. Okay.
So I just can't imagine a band playing the intro song in their practice studio or whatever.
Yeah. Probably would have to change the last words, but yeah, that was really giving it all the way there. That wasn't a half-assed.
No, that was not.
That was I'm fucking going for it. That was like someone do the national anthem and they're like, I am doing the national fucking anthem.
Yep. So thank you, Kozer.
Not phoning it in at all.
No, not at all. I'll be back this weekend. You will be on a bachelor party. Mike O'Connor will co-host the pod, and I'm glad Mike is able to do that. I know Mike has a lot of takes about the current roster, and maybe we'll have another signing. You never know. So
yeah, I would love Haywood Highsmith. That would be fun.
They have been talking to Haywood Highsmith. It would be great. It'd be great to have Haywood Highsmith. It was incredibly frustrating to see him playing well with the Miami Heat.
Yeah. The Ricky's own Haywood Highsmith. I think Marcus Morris any minute now probably also.
Yeah, that's happening. I think we all know that's happening, right?
Yeah, and then you'll be happy about that, even though I will be annoyed.
I will.
But it's fine. Vendor minimum, that's fine. That's fine.
He's already got the key to the city.
He's got the key to the city. Let himself come in. We're going to go to bed. You let yourself in whenever you need.
All right. We will. I'll talk to you this weekend. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, lick face.